I finally found a day where I can work on the Honda, the CX500. So a lot of you that subscribe to me will be glad to hear that. The Suzuki, in the meanwhile, is there still without the rubber boots. They're still down here. New boots have been ordered now. The local supplier, luckily, have been able to help me out. They suggest that I order one boot at a time because in the last 40 years when this was made, things might have changed, part numbers might have changed, so they've told me to order one, see if that fits, and if it does, then order the rest. So it's probably going to be about a week, 2 weeks before I can actually do anything properly with this. So, more work on this. What I'm going to do today is carry on stripping it down. Obviously I've put the tank just there for the time being. I'm going to strip the electrics, strip the front end down, and I might even drop the engine. I'll see how comfortable I am doing that today. Half of me wants to leave the engine in there, so at least I can get an idea of how the bike would look when I'm putting the rear shock on. Another part of me just wants to get it done and get it out of there, so I'll see where I get up to in a minute. So an update for you on what direction I'm going to take the bike. I'm definitely going to replace these front shocks. And the triple trees that go with them, and I'm going to be putting either GSXRs or CBR front shocks. I'm not sure what the best plug and play option is. I've read a lot of forums. Some say that the GSXRs are simple plug and plays. Other people say that the spindle going through the middle is too long for this bike and you're going to need a lot of modification for it. So of course, you know, the bearings and everything gonna have to be changed. I might take the front end off for now just so I can see what size clamps and everything I need. Back end, monoshock or twin shock, I don't know. I really don't know. It would be so much easier if we were to keep the twin shocks here. So as you can see, there's going to be a lot of engineering if I do decide to take that off. So that's where I'm at now. I'll probably strip more of the bike down now and then do a few little drawings and see what the bike's going to look like. I finally decided to drop the engine. It's not that big a job, to be honest. It's a lot easier job than it was on the GS. So I've got to the stage where I've got the carbs out and this water tank, but because everything's quite tightly packed in there, it's pretty hard to squeeze them past that bar and all sorts without actually doing too much damage. The only thing I've had to do is uncouple the drive shaft here. So that's just one bolt there. If you pull this rubber back, just one bolt comes out there. And then, no, that's loose. So all I need to do is slide the engine forward and then drop it down. So I'll put a jack underneath it, unscrew all these bolts, and then drop it. So that's it, we've got the engine out. The engine's over there, on that block there. The frame is here. As you can see, there's really not much to the frame, not compared to something like that over there. You don't have this bottom bit sort of hugging around the engine as it was. It's all bolted onto this, so it doesn't leave much. Once I take the front end off as well, it's going to be even less than that. Debates about the monoshock. If I do decide to take this back bit off, it's going to leave even less, so we'll see how it goes from there. Now, I know I'm going to get so many comments on YouTube now of people saying, why didn't I just put the jack under the engine and drop the engine out rather than lifting the bike over the engine? Truth is, I didn't actually know what weight the engine was going to be, how heavy it was going to be, and also, as you can see on that jack over there, it's only got a little tiny head, and I didn't want to put a piece of wood underneath and have the engine balancing or whatnot. I'd rather have it on a solid block, and I know that the frame's going to be fairly light anyway. It is a steel frame, but still there's not much of it there, so it's going to be fairly light. So that's the reason I did that. Last thing I wanted to do was to drop a really heavy engine, have it balancing on the top, and then me not having any help at all, you know, balancing the engine whilst I drop it, all sorts. I think it's a two-man job if I wanted to do that. So that's that explanation. Anyway, so this monoshock dilemma. Of course I'm gonna strip the front down. There's not, I mean, this is a really thin front fork. That's not gonna be there. I think the forks actually have gone as well. So yeah, I'm gonna be changing this front end. The monoshock, that's the big question. Should I do that or not? My worries are, if I do decide to mount the monoshock here, which is what people do, and then have it going up to some kind of bracket seating area here, we're then left with this tubing here. So you've got the force from the ground going up, the force from the shock and the rider going down there. So what happens in between here is my question. Will that buckle? I've got the drive shaft as well going through the other end. Is that going to cause an issue? Is, you know, this subframe, this swing arm wasn't designed to do that. If it was, it would have been engineered in a different way. Now, I'm not an engineer, I wish I was, but those are my initial worries as well. I know that people have done them before. I know that there are bobber kits that you can buy. I mean, I don't want to go down the route of a bobber. I want it to be a cafe racer or a brat bike, the least. Like I say, I know there are bolt-on kits and weld-on kits and all sorts that you can buy from eBay and different manufacturers out here, conversion kits. But I'm thinking long term. I want to be riding this bike. If I sell it to someone, I'll have that conscience on me then. Will they be safe? The last thing I want to do is sell a bike to someone with it not being safe. So I don't want to have that conscience or that guilt on me. I'd rather just sell it and know for sure that it's meant to do what it's meant to do. I mean, at the end of the day, it is someone's life that you're messing around with, be it yourself or someone else's if you sell it. So another thing I will do, not for this video, but I will actually create a Photoshop version of what I think the bike's going to look like. Colours, paints, styles, wheels, all sorts. That's it for now. If you like what you see so far, and if you want to follow the build, then subscribe as usual, and there'll be more videos up, hopefully frequently.